Deep beneath the mountains, the clang of pickaxes echoed as 7 dwarfs dug with furious excitement. Their goal? Strike a legendary seam of gold rumored to lie beneath the core. Fueled by snacks, songs, and stubbornness, they kept digging long after reason told them to stop. The tunnel grew hotter, then colder, then weightless. With one final strike, the walls cracked, and the dwarfs were sucked upward in a flash of glowing light. They landed with a thud, face first, into soft yellow ground. Cheese. The entire surface was cheese. Floating boulders of cheddar drifted by like clouds. Stars shimmered in all directions. The dwarfs had tunneled to the moon. They were overjoyed until their tools started floating. Zero gravity turned mining into chaos. Pickaxes flew like boomerangs. Helmets spun off heads, and a single burp from one dwarf sent him spiraling into orbit. Still, they pressed on, discovering luminous cheese caves filled with glimmering crystals and glowing mushrooms. But the joy didn't last long. A screeching battle cry came from the shadows. Moon goblins in bubble helmets descended, wielding melted cheese guns and riding space goats. The dwarfs scattered. It was pure madness. Just when they thought things couldn't get weirder, the moon trembled. A low, gurgling groan rippled through the ground. Giant craters blinked. A vast, sleepy face emerged across the lunar surface. The moon itself yawned. It was alive. And then it sneezed. The dwarfs were flung into the air like popcorn as glowing spores burst from the cheese caves. Turns out, the moon was allergic to dwarfs. It had been asleep for centuries, and now it was cranky, congested, and ready to eject them. And this was only the beginning of their lunar misadventure. The sneeze had barely ended when the ground started to shake, violently. The dwarfs tumbled across rolling hills of Gouda as the moon's surface rippled like jelly. Craters belched steam. Cheese caves began to collapse. This wasn't just a sneeze. It was a full-blown lunar allergy attack, and the dwarfs were the irritants. Panicking, they regrouped on a floating brie island that bobbed in the sky like a wobbly boat. One dwarf accidentally kicked a mushroom, which released more spores and caused the moon to hiccup. With each hiccup came a mini cheesequake that launched them higher. They grabbed chunks of parmesan to paddle through the weightless madness. Then came the moon goblins again. Only this time, they were retreating. Why? Because an enormous space cow with rocket-powered udders was stampeding across the lunar plains. Its eyes glowed red. It was the guardian of the moon cheese, and it was jealous. The dwarfs had eaten too much. With the moon sneezing and the cow charging, the dwarfs had one plan: dig back home. But underground wasn't an option anymore. They needed propulsion, so they duct-taped pickaxes to mushrooms, strapped on goblin bubble helmets, and fashioned a cheese-fueled launch sled. It was insane. It was dangerous. It was absolutely dwarfish. The sled rocketed forward, bouncing over craters and slamming into floating debris. The cow chased them, mooing furiously, until it slipped on a wedge of blue cheese and flew off into orbit. One last quake split the moon in half, revealing a portal inside its gooey center. The dwarfs dove in just as the moon let out a final sneeze. They crash-landed back in their mine, covered in cheese, glowing spores, and a single goblin still clinging to a boot. They vowed never to dig too deep again, at least until next Tuesday.
If you like this video, then do subscribe to this channel